Gen Z are often called the most powerful generation in modern history. They're more connected, they're more informed, and they are the most capable in mobilizing at a scale not seen before it. But what if that power gets hijacked? Not by governments, but by likes and laughs. You've seen what happens when that power is activated. Governments fall, leaders resign, systems shake. But here's the hard truth, we don't say it out loud enough. Gen Z has the power and potential to topple governments, but when its rage is trapped online and turned into memes, power stays exactly where it is. Because memes won't move governments. Welcome to the American Side. I'm Mahin Mustafa, and today we are asking why the same generation is rewriting history in some places and is laughing through collapse in others.
American Side.
In recent months and years, Gen Z has shaken governments worldwide. In Bangladesh, mass student protests in 2024 forced Sheikh Hasina's resignation. In Sri Lanka, young people flooded the streets and brought a president's rule to its knees. In Nepal this fall, Gen Z led protests against corruption, and a social media ban toppled the prime minister in weeks. And just this month in Bulgaria, youth demonstrations over corruption and a controversial budget forced the government to collapse. Millions in the streets demanding change. And then there's Pakistan, where Gen Z made Meri Baggo trend. Let's be clear about one thing. Gen Z is not powerless, apathetic, or lazy. In fact, far from it. When pushed to the edge, this generation can move history. In Sri Lanka, it was young people who organized mass occupations, stormed symbolic centers of power, and forced resignations, not through violence, but through sheer collective pressure. In Bangladesh, students led protests against corruption, economic despair, and political repression, forcing Sheikh Hasina's resignation in 2024. They didn't wait for political parties, they became the political force. In Nepal this September, Gen Z flooded streets against media crackdowns and corruption, toppling a leader amid widespread unrest. In Bulgaria just weeks ago, Gen Z used digital tools and mass turnout to challenge oligarchs, destabilize elites, and bring down the government over corruption. These movements weren't perfect. They had demands, they had organization, and most importantly, they believed in the power of protest and street muscle, and that it could make change. So let's go back to Pakistan. Pakistan's Gen Z is the most online generation in the world. Hyper-connected, politically aware, and chronically outraged. So what happens when inflation is crushing families? When elections are disputed? When institutions lose credibility? Instead of mass mobilization, TikTok trends explode. Memes dominate discourse. And Meri Baggo becomes the headline. For those unfamiliar, here's the Meri Baggo reel that exploded into memes across TikTok.
Nadia,
जी
मेरी सोनी सवानी,
जी
मेरी बग्गो,
जी
मेरी बुलबुल,
जी
ठीक हैं?
जी
But amid Pakistan's economic woes, it symbolized how outrage gets rerouted into humor. A phrase that goes viral, a joke that spreads faster than any policy discussion, a distraction that feels funny until you realize nothing changes afterward. This isn't because Pakistani Gen Z doesn't care. It's because they internalized and were taught something very dangerous. Resistance is futile, protests are punished, dissent is criminalized, humor is safer than organizing, and then sarcasm becomes survival mode. Here's the part we don't talk about enough. The algorithm doesn't reward revolution. It rewards entertainment. Memes travel faster than manifestos. Jokes feel safer than marches. Virality replaces victory. Gen Z didn't choose this ecosystem. It inherited it. And authoritarian systems love this, because a generation laughing online is easier to manage than one marching on the streets. The danger isn't that Gen Z is unserious. The danger is that serious anger is being funneled into unserious outcomes. Though humor can spark awareness, it rarely sustains change without offline follow-through. Successful Gen Z movements boil down to three essentials: clear demands over vibes, offline pressure, bodies in the streets, not just comments, sustained action over fleeting trends. Where these are missing, power remains untouched. In Pakistan, protests are often fragmented. Leadership is targeted. Fear is real. Safe spaces for escalation are limited. forcing adaptation into safer outlets like humor. We're seeing glimmers of offline mobilization in recent student uprising in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir over education issues and repression. But in much of mainland Pakistan, fragmentation persists. Memes don't scare power, numbers do. For Gen Z Muslims in America and Canada watching this unfold, this isn't just over their politics. Diaspora voices amplify movements. Diaspora pressure shapes narratives. Diaspora silence also sends a message. If Gen Z can topple governments in Kathmandu, Sofia and beyond, then the question isn't whether change can happen. The question is what conditions make it possible. Gen Z stands at a crossroad. It can be a generation that changed systems, or a generation that's trending jokes while the systems harden. History doesn't remember trends. It remembers moments when people thought that humor wasn't enough and systems had to change. So here's my question for you. What role are we playing online and offline to support real accountability? What role are you playing? Share your thoughts in the comment section. I'm Mahim Mustafa, and you've been watching The American Side. Until next time.